If you have always wondered how to create high levels of magic and ceremonial magic to create deep and profound transformation in your life, then this video is for you. I'm going to give you the exact step-by-step instructions to get started in creating more transformation, more spells, and more rituals through high magic. Let's go. Have you ever wanted to take your rituals and spells to a new level to actually create the transformation that you desire, but you don't know how? This is what we're talking about today is high magic, ceremonial magic, and how it differs from everyday regular magic that you should be doing to create an enchantable life. This is different. This is where we go into high levels of cosmic energy or high levels of consciousness to create from. And if you haven't done it before, it can feel a little bit intimidating to know where to start, what to do, how to create the plans, the rituals, the tools, the words, the places to go to do this magic. And I'm going to give you the exact step-by-step instructions on how to plan and how to execute high magic. Hi, my name is Tahverlee. I'm a high priestess, a practicing witch, and I have led thousands of humans to a place of being able to create their own high magic ceremonies to support the transformation or desires that they want in their life. It is impactful, and it's actually not something that we're taught in a lot of common mystery schools, witch schools. We're taught basic level magic, and this is bigger than that. This is where true shifts happen in your field. So let's talk about rites of passage, ceremonial magic, and high magic as a whole, because it used to be a part of everything that we did historically. In ancient times, we had a lot of deep rituals that humans would do in order to prepare to go on a hunt, in order to prepare to harvest, in order to celebrate the birth of a new person in the tribe or a new person in the community. And we've seen these rituals and rites of passages pass and go away over time. Although an example of where we still carry that today, and I bet that most of you don't even know why you do this, but putting candles on a cake and singing happy birthday and blowing out the candles after making a wish. This is actually based in ancient practices, and it started in Egypt, where they would create some sort of special bread or cake to celebrate the return of the sun, and they would add candles to it in order to represent the sun, the return of the light. And then in Greece, you would see that a lot of people would celebrate. Historically, they would celebrate the birth of a child with sweet cakes, and they would, again, use candles as a way to signify life. And they would sing, chant, and dance over this new life. And then when the ceremony was complete, they would extinguish the candles. And so knowing that we actually still do a type of ceremony now for birthdays, you probably don't even know why, but we do this idea of making wishes and then blowing out the candles. So these ceremonies or different types of high magic are everywhere if you decide to explore them. Right now, typically, you can only find a lot of high magic ceremonies that happen in church. And I'm not advocating that those ceremonies are good or bad or whatever they are. It's neutral. It is just the process of truly creating an intentional shift in the atmosphere to create what you want. Now, unfortunately, in a lot of churches, their will supersedes your intention. So we're not talking about that today. Okay, so you might have a little bit of access to magic now. You might have cast a couple of spells. You might have played around in the energy field and maybe did a little candle magic, or maybe you burned a bay leaf, or maybe you've gone out under the full moon and created moon water and then used that to anoint yourself or one of your magical tools. And these are powerful. You may have also done work such as love spells, abundance spells, and not actually seen a lot of impact. And that's because emergency magic or short-term magic is really difficult to see an outcome because you haven't done the work to truly create an enchantable life. I do like to say that emergency magic is bad magic, not because it actually is bad, but because the results are limited. Long-term ceremonial magic that actually creates a shift in your entire universe takes time. And a lot of people don't want to invest the time. And I'm going to make it so simple for you that anyone can do this. And if you're so intrigued with wanting to learn more about how to create high magic ceremonies, how to really cast the type of spells or rituals that will make a measurable impact within you and within how it appears in your 3D, then you should join me in all the ways that I teach more of this in depth. One of the best ways is to go to the Spellbinders Club, which we'll put the link in the comments, and check it out because I share weekly rituals that you can do in deep, profound ways. And you should also subscribe to this channel. And that will make sure that every time something new comes out, you'll be able to come back and find out more, because I am happy to be your trusted guide in this because I love it. And I have seen directly, firsthand, with the students that I've worked with, both in mystery school and in one-on-one, how much their life can change when they get a little bit of instruction, knowledge, tips, and tools, and then they actually go and apply it. Because here's the thing, watching this video is not high magic. Watching this video isn't ceremonial magic. It is the baseline for you to take the knowledge, make notes. So go get your pen and paper, make notes, and go and apply it for yourself. So that's how I want you to join me, and we'll do this together. So what is the difference between high magic, or sometimes called low magic, although I don't want you to think of it as high and low as good and bad. It's surface level versus deep. And a lot of low magic practitioners, and this actually isn't surface level, but a lot of low magic practitioners are those that work deeply within the earth. They might do magic with roots of the tree. They might work with fairies. They might do a lot of offerings outdoors. They might do a lot of deep work with earth elemental energies, such as a lot of the rituals done by druids. That is definitely not surface level magic. It is deep magic, but it is considered low in the sense of, if you just think of access to the quantum fields as being linear, meaning we know cosmic level, right? Sun, moon, we think of it as like up there, and we think of earth as like down here. That's how that reference is. But you can do high magic and ceremonial magic in any place that feels right for you. Location, density, meaning earth-based or cosmic-based. You can do ceremonial magic in any way that supports what it is that you desire. It is totally possible. And you can do this no matter your level of experience or not. Okay, so I'm going to take you through the things that I want you to think about as you start. So now is a good time for you to take out a paper and pen. And while you do that, I'm going to tell you a story of one of the most powerful high magic, ceremonial magic rituals that I conducted for myself. And it was a really wild ride. It's something that I had done before. It was meant as a death and rebirth process that I intentionally chose. And I'll say intentionally chose because I knew in my field that I was seeking a type of transformation that surface level, quick magic wasn't going to support. And the moment that I started to feel, and I'm talking about being in touch with your intuitive gifts, with being in touch with your inner knowing fields, your spiritual gifts, your psychic gifts. As you are in touch with that, sometimes you can feel into your field something bigger is required. And I started to feel that prior to completing this ceremony. And when I said yes, meaning, okay, I listened, I got the information, there's a bigger ritual ready to be done. I wasn't sure any of the details yet. I just said yes. The moment I said yes, within a week, a whole bunch of information started coming into my field, like it does in what is considered a synchronicity. A lot of people came to me and started talking to me about this very specific place they had been recently. A book was given to me from this exact same place. There were just these little signs that kept telling me to look at this place, to look at this place. And so I did. I listened and I said, okay, my ceremony is going to take place here. And then I started swirling into it. Then I spent probably 15 to 20 minutes a day for a couple of weeks, just feeling into what is it that this ceremony could consist of. And the moment that I was given little bits of information more and more, then I sat down and started to plan. And I planned it to be, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks, could have even been a month down the road. I knew it was going to happen, didn't know the tools. I knew where, I knew what the pull was that I was seeking. And so then I planned it and I went to the location. And what happened in that location was more than I could ever imagine of magic, of wild and crazy mystical experiences that took place. It felt almost like a solo quest, even though I didn't necessarily know that that's what it was going to be, but I trusted my gifts. I trusted what came to me and I followed the plan. What happened on the other side of that was the most uplifting, magical time in my life. After I'd completed the ritual, after I'd completed the ceremony, I felt like new codes appeared on my skin. I felt like I had access to new levels of my psychic gifts, my spiritual gifts. It was very profound. And so in that case, I knew a little bit to start, but I trusted the process. I let it percolate and it all came together beautifully. And so this is something I want you to think about, is not to rush high magic, not to rush ceremonial magic or rites of passage that you might plan for yourself. If you feel like you're ready for something bigger and you're stuck and you desire more love, more abundance, or there's something specific you desire, great. Hold on to that and start utilizing these steps that I'm going to give you. And I promise you it will come together. Okay. Here is what I want you to write down and start thinking about. What is the purpose of the ritual? What time of day feels right for you to conduct the ritual? What am I trying to influence? How long might this ritual take place? And what is needed? And then start to compile your notes, your items. And you may not have any items. You might just have something to cleanse your space, something to cast your circle, which we're going to talk about. You might just have notes on the words. You might start writing prose. You might go to a book and find the right words or the language to create what it is that this transformation is that you desire. And then write it out in a plan. And I'll give you the exact steps on how you can conduct high magic. I'll give you the steps and you can take this and create a plan. Because before you do any high levels of magic or ceremonial magic, if you're new, you should have a full plan. It should be scripted, very detailed. And then expect the spirit world, the god, the goddess, whoever you might be working with to come in and give you a little jolt of mystical, magical happenstance during your ceremony or high magic. Totally fine, normal, and you should expect it, but still make a plan. Now, if you're experienced at doing high levels of magic or ceremonial magic, then you might be able to kind of pull the pieces together. And this might just be your reminder that that thing you desire in 2024, that thing that you've been wanting, that area of your life that you want to see expand, you might be ready now to do some ceremonial high levels of magic. Okay. I want you to try it and play. Here's the thing. You can't really mess it up. You can skip steps that might not have the same power. You can, you can do lots of little things that might kind of disrupt it, but you can't mess it up. I think that you should play. You should plan a high magic ceremony just to experience high magic. And a lot of people find it hard to invest the time to plan, and then they rush through the actual working of the ceremony. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to experience what it feels like in your body when you're circling into these realms, because anybody can do this. All right, number one. Here is a rough outline. Number one, once your plan is ready, you have the date, the time, the plan, the script, the tools, you're ready. When you go into the space in that location, time, when all that plan is ready, and let's just say you're in this space. Maybe you're in here's my sanctuary, my magical sanctuary where I work, where I record. If I was going to do it in here, Let's say, for an example, the first thing you're going to do is cleanse and clear the space of all energy. So step one, cleanse your space. That could be a smoke cleanse, that could be drumming, that could be loud music, that could be whatever it is that you know how to do. And if you don't know how to do it, start with a stick of incense and swirl it around the room, and you might close your eyes and envision this room being empty of any energy other than you. Number two, ground yourself. Because high magic is an expansive energy field. It can feel like you're bursting at the seams, and we want that. But we want to do it from a place of groundedness. That's important, a place of groundedness. Because when you're planning your ritual and doing this advanced work and asking yourself the questions of, what is the purpose of this ritual? You want to have extreme clarity on what it is that you are seeking. That sometimes is the hardest part. If you have a question about that, you should comment below. If you have a question about how to truly identify what it is that you are seeking to put it into a box that feels tidy, comment below and I will come in and answer any questions you have. And then when you ground, before you do the working, you are anchored into truth, into your body, into the levels of earth that are representative of your human world, where you're bringing it into. You're going to cleanse and then you're going to ground. Number three, you're going to open a circle. And there are many, many, many ways of opening a circle. And you can make it as simple as physically defining the circle. You can use stones, you can use anything. You can use your right hand, your first two fingers, your power fingers, and point and walk. You can walk the circle. There are many ways to create a circle. And I won't spend too much time in here, but I will record a video on how to cast a circle. And I think there is a video actually already out there to cast a circle or not. If not, it's in the Spellbinders Club. This is definitely a time you should open a circle. And I want you to think of it as sealing yourself in. So there's no exit of the circle, which means you shouldn't step out of the circle until your ritual is complete. This is protection. This is honoring of space. And a circle itself, the shape of a circle, represents opening a portal. So when you're opening a circle, you are actually opening the portal to what it is that you desire. So it's important to cast a circle however you see fit. Number four, call in the directions and the elements. And if you don't know how to do that, it is okay to just say, I call in the north, the east, the south, the west. I honor earth, air, fire, and water. If you want something a little more detailed and you've got your pen handy, I'll give you a quick little summary you can always use once your circle is cast. Is to the north, I call in the element of earth to be with me in this ceremony. To the east, I call in the element of air to be with me in this ceremony. To the south, I call in and honor the fire within myself and the element of fire to show me the path of transformation that I desire. To the west, I call in the element of water, the ancestors, the guides, my own inner knowing into this space. Simple, right? You can use that in many ways, change words however you want, but working the directions and calling in the elements is super important in high levels of magic. And that's because everything is connected. Right? We're connected to the earth. We're connected to the air. We're connected to our bodies, to our sovereignty, to our passion, which is fire. We're connected to water. We are water. So when we acknowledge the directions and the elements both within us and without us, we are actually honoring the connection to all. So once you've opened this portal, you are calling in elemental energies that will support you. And I won't go into more detail. You can do your research. You can watch more videos on my channel here about this. But just know that those elemental energies, as a beginner, are important to call in. Now is the time that you would invoke any spirits, ancestors, or guides, deities, gods, or goddesses that you might want to support you in this ritual. So going back into your planning stages, if you desire to have outside support, spirit world support, research and look up what god, what goddess. And if you haven't worked with them before, maybe you do a little bit of working with them prior to the ceremony. Or if you don't know, you can just ask. I call in my guides and my ancestors. You can make it as simple or as detailed as you want. But in this step, number 5 is to invoke any any spiritual beings that you want to support you. All right, number 6. This is where you're going to start to feel the shift. You're going to have cast the circle. Space is clear. You've invoked the directions and the elements. You've called in the spiritual beings that are supporting you. Then you're going to state your intentions clearly out loud. And I mean clearly. You can see from my voice, when I'm speaking right now, I am intentionally stating with clarity, with sovereignty, what it is that I desire. So speak it. Be serious. Let the spirits know that you're serious. Let the earth vibrate from the intensity of your desires. Number 7, do the plan that you've created. Actually complete the ritual. For example, the ritual that I did that I was talking about earlier that was so crazy magical, it involved me being near a fire, chanting, speaking certain words, stomping my feet, using certain hand mudras, praying. There was movement in my body. I had all these plans. There was a certain way that I was positioning myself on the ground to put my head below my heart so I can lead more by my heart. So my plan when I was there in person, and here's a little really funny part of this particular ceremony, is when I was in the working of the ritual, what I had planned, all the doors of the house that I was staying in at the time slammed shut because I was doing my working outside under the moon by a fire. All the doors slammed shut and I was locked out of the house. No phone, no keys, no nothing at night. And I was skyclad. So I was doing this ritual without clothes on because it was a big amount of space, private. I was doing it under the moon and the doors slammed shut and I got locked outside of my house that I was staying in naked. I will complete that story at the end of this video in case you want to hear what happened. So number 7, do the working, no matter what. No matter what, wild things happen. Things start falling off shelves. You might get some interruption because you're doing a working in a space, in a portal that you've opened and you've called in powerful, powerful allies. Don't be surprised if the energy gets big. And when energy gets big, it starts to shift things around you. And that's what happened. And it happens 99.9% of the time when I do high magic or ceremonial magic. I just know things will get wild. Another time that I did a high level magical ceremony, I actually brought in a dear sister of mine to amplify my work. Most of what I do is by myself. You might do it in a group, totally fine. I brought in someone to like have a hand on my shoulder to add energy, to add support, to add groundedness to what I was doing. And things got wild. A fire, an actual spark occurred in our circle that we didn't light. And it ended up actually starting a fire. Of course, we completed the ritual and put the fire out. But the energy is real. So you should expect if things kind of outside the circle, if things get a little bumpy, it's okay. Unless there's a fire, let it be. Unless you get locked outside of your location naked, let it be. You can address it when you close your circle. Number 8, raising your power and raising your energy. There are lots of ways to do this, from breath work, from rituals, from stomping, from movement, from dance, from sound, from your own deep desires, from pleasure. Lots of ways to raise energy. And your goal is to raise the energy in this ceremony and hold the tension of that energy as long as you can. That might require you to be in an expanded state a little bit longer. This is where you start to see the difference between high magic and surface level magic. These are some of the critical components that are different because the amount of energy and the amount of power that you are bringing into it is significant. It requires extra planning. It requires you to be in an undisturbed space. And yet, the result of doing it is so worth it. If you were to think of the amount of effort you put into a spell or a ritual is a direct impact on the result, sometimes that's not always true if you're experienced at spells and rituals. But in this case, the effort that you put in, the amount of time that you can hold that deep, high level of energy that is powerful, that makes you sweat, that is heat, the longer you can hold that, the more powerful the ritual will be. So number 8, raise your energy and power. If you don't know how to do that and you've never done anything like that, I invite you, after you've done the actual working, turn on the most intense song on your phone, put it in your headphones, put it on a speaker loud, put on the song that gives you the most power, the most juice. Turn it up to full blast. And within your circle, inside that portal, dance, stomp your feet, like sweat. Let the energy of that song come through your body. It's a simple way to raise energy. There are many other ways. That's a simple way to start. And then number 9, of course, hold that tension as long as you can. If you've, say, for example, used that song and you've raised energy and it feels good, and it's not complete yet, put on another song. So, which means inside your circle, which should be part of your plan, might mean bringing in a speaker or headphones. So inside your circle should be all your tools inside the portal, because you're not going to step out until it's complete. And then number 10, you start to bring it down. You start to bring it down and you commune with the spirits, the ancestors, or the guides that you have invoked. Usually at this point in time, most people that I teach how to do these steps sit down with their journal because they've received information, or they might just free write how they feel. So journal, bring it down, and commune with the spirits that you've invoked. Number 11, thank the elements, the directions, and the spirits, and provide an offering. That might be you leave a flower inside the circle somewhere. That might be just your breath. That might just be saying thank you, giving your breath. That is air, that is magic. You might go into more intricate offerings. I use different types of alcoholic spirits. I use tobacco. I use lots of different things, plates of goodies, fresh fruit and nuts, whatever it is. Leave an offering and say thanks. And then close your circle. If you've walked the circle, which, by the way, when you open a circle, it should always be sunwise or clockwise. I call it sunwise. When you open your circle, you can go the opposite direction or not, but use your voice. Again, firmly state your intention that this ritual is now complete and I am opening the circle. However that might be for you. Unpaint it, move the items, close the circle. And there you go. Then you have completed your first high magic ceremony. You have done all these steps to create transformation in your life. And then you should track and watch how this plays out. Take notes, make regular appointments in your schedule to check in to see what happened. I invite you to even write, how did it feel in your body? I can, right now, even thinking of my last high magic ceremony, or the one that I called in my sister, even just discussing it, I feel heat in my body just from remembering the power that I brought into my field in those experiences. And I can call upon that now anytime, even for simple level rituals, which is why I say, play, practice, try it. All right, make sure you subscribe if you want more information. Comment if you're having a hard time identifying and being clear about what you want. And to give you a little conclusion to the story that I've told you. So, following locking myself out of the house, skyclad in the middle of a ritual, I had to venture and journey many miles in the dark. And I actually was able to find a pair of boots that were covered in mud from when I had unloaded my vehicle. And I put my boots on, still skyclad, and went out and got picked up by someone in the neighborhood who helped me get back in. So yes, you can imagine the mortification of, in the middle of a ritual, naked, that I got picked up by a man, of course, a young man, of course, and let back into the house. And it was fine. And I completed the ritual. And here's the part that I'm telling you, is afterwards, I realized all of that was actually part of the ritual. The person I met, my experience when I was riding around with him, trying to get back into the house, the whole thing was part of the ritual. And I did realize that when I was maybe halfway through getting rescued. I realized, oh, I'm still in it. It was part of it. It was part of the magic that took place, which is why when you're doing this work, you should be prepared for some wild mystical experiences. Even if it's a tiny little circle in your closet that you're doing this, you should expect to receive and play in the fields of what is mystical and magical. Subscribe, and I'll see you again.